My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PPN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV. Lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms. Fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't awake. My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you...
Welcome, you guys. I know that is a different intro than what you were used to, but I am streaming on YouTube, and apparently every time I use the Cowboys and Indians intro, it gets pulled immediately because of me shooting the Bud Light sign. And so I have to edit that and change it. But the world right now is seeming to lose its mind as Trump left the G7 summit in a hurry and basically said that he has to get back as soon as he can. Because we all think that, well, it looks like shit's about to go down. Whether it be from the U.S. directly being involved in this war, or, I mean, obviously Trump has access to information that we do not. And I see a lot of people saying that in this moment, that's not what we voted for. Right? That we didn't vote to go to war with Iran. We didn't vote to support another country, especially Israel, in another war. And this kind of feels like a defining moment for Trump. Tucker Carlson came out and said that they don't want war. Most of the MAGA base seems to express the same kind of feeling, that nobody wants war, that we didn't vote for this, and we have no part in this. And to be honest, I'm a little torn. And I'm not going to say that it's justified, that we should definitely go do this, but there's so much information out there that I don't know. And I don't want to use that as an excuse to justify another war. So I want to err on the side of caution right now, because so far I've seen a lot of misinformation. I mean, even just over this past week in general, there have been so many accounts, so many large accounts that tend to post clickbait, or I've seen edited videos where the fires are bigger than what they are, or they're using videos from years ago or editing it to put in a no king sign in a video. So lots of fake news, and it's kind of frustrating because there's no accountability. And one of the problems with the mainstream media is that they haven't really had any accountability over the past couple of years, and they've just been lying and saying whatever they want. And a lot of the influencers or the accounts on X that are most widely spread around have been sharing fake news. And it's frustrating. It's difficult to sift through and make sure that you're posting something factual and not just absolute nonsense. What happened at the G7 summit? Yes. So I'm going to pull up this article right now. So it is just me today. Steve is currently busy doing something else. So I will just be your host. I'm the Native Patriot. You guys are watching the Cowboys and Indians podcast. It's just the Indian today. Feather, not dot. So it is what it is. You know, I love Steve, and you know, he will be joining once again, but just not tonight. It's just me. You guys are stuck with me. So if you can, please share this podcast. Spread it around. That's the only way that we're going to be able to grow. But for now, let's bring this up. So Trump urges immediate evacuation of Tehran. And so he left the G7 summit early. President Trump warned on Monday evening that everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran, Iran's capital city. This comes as Israel and Iran have traded strikes over the weekend. Israel struck the Middle Eastern country's main nuclear site late Thursday. Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. What a shame. What a shame. And waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. So that's his truth that he put out. And oddly enough, Autism Capital shared a tweet here. It said, Trump from the G7, I have to get home. I think you all know why. You see what I see. I need to get home. Now, there's a lot of speculation about exactly what's going on, and I don't think anybody really knows. I don't think that the U.S. is going to get directly involved and start striking Iran. I think that it's more than likely that Trump was able to talk with Bibi and basically maybe gave him the green light, or they said that there's going to be an imminent strike happening, because this almost feels like just a warning from Trump and having to run away, or, you know, get out of the G7 summit and come back and kind of monitor the situation, because if it kind of feels like this has been coming for a while. It, you know, happened slowly and then suddenly. So the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Saturday, very soon you will see IAF planes above Tehran's skies. We will hit every site and every target of the Ayatollah's regime. And what they have felt so far is nothing compared with what they will have with what they will be handed in the coming days. So they've definitely said that there's going to be more strikes. Now, I've never been one to idolize Trump in a way that I say that as you can see, like I got a picture of Trump there, and then, you know, I made the Make America Great Again headdress because I was in full support of what Trump was espousing. And a lot of people are already saying that, you know, the MAGA movement has been duped, that this has been the plan all along. And I know that I think I saw a clip from Nick Fuentes basically saying right after the October 7th attacks that this is a way that the U.S. is going to be pulled into war with Iran, which is funny because he's the only person I saw that was saying that early. And I know that almost all of my life, at least my adult life, I've been told that Iran is getting close to developing nuclear weapons and that we should be nervous about it. And I mean, it's been talked about for years and years. So it's hard to justify that all of a sudden right now is the time where we must strike. And it sucks because we're not given all the information. And I mean, even in the digital age where we have access to so much, it is difficult to. Okay, troll, I believe you. I didn't see the clip from you though. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Let's see, Zen Gorilla says not our war. It's not. I don't believe it is. And I mean, Chaos Trigger's right. MAGA wants peace. This is what we've wanted. And we've had wars in the Middle East for decades now. Decades. And if you guys remember back in the early 2000s, they said that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction and that we have to go over there. And this is, I mean, they're selling the exact same narrative today. And I don't know I don't see why we should trust it. They've given me no evidence. I mean, look at this, okay? We have brand new information came up. Check this out.
Exclusive satellite images revealing the location of a previously unknown Iranian nuclear site. Now, the facility spans nearly 2,500 acres, and this is a big discovery. Jillian Turner has more from the State Department. Good morning, Jillian.
Pretty explosive, Dana. These satellite images that we have obtained exclusively show the alleged site location and even the layout of the secret, previously unknown nuclear weapons facilities inside Iran. This, of course, raises fresh concerns about the regime's role in these ongoing nuclear talks with the Trump administration. The National Council of Resistance of Iran has collected intelligence from sources on the ground inside Iran that locate this nuclear weapons facility in what is called Semnan province, far from the regime's already known nuclear sites. It's codenamed the Rainbow Site by Iran's officials, and it spans nearly 2,500 acres. It's been operating as far as we can discern.
Exclusive.
All right, so there you have it, you guys. They found another nuclear site just in time to locate another one. This is why they had to strike. This is why the U.S. should be involved. This is justifying everything that we need to justify getting into another war. And it is so difficult to just buy into this. And it's, yeah, Brandon, exactly. Same bullshit, different war. Trump ran on peace. I think this is the moment where Trump is going to have to put his foot down and actually stay out of it. And I don't know what talks he had with what leaders, because if there's a pact between other nations that, you know, we're basically going to sit this one out. You know, let's say if he went and talked to Putin and said, hey, we're going to sit this one out. Now, granted, we're going to protect the trade routes and try and keep, you know, inflation from skyrocketing like we've never seen before. Because if those trade routes get shut down, oil prices go through the roof, then, I mean, we'll see gas at $13 a gallon. You know, it'll skyrocket, and that won't be good. So, but I'm also worried about that a little bit, because what you can see happening is if we go to protect trade routes and one of the U.S. vessels gets struck, that could be another reason to justify jumping into the war and saying, hey, they killed Americans. We can't stand this. So I don't know, man. This is one of those moments where I want to say it's above my pay grade, because like I said, we do not have. Oh, so Troll, I can't actually click on the tweet while it's in here, but if you DM it to me, I'll be able to see it. But yeah, this has definitely been an interesting couple of days, because I mean, there was a ton of news over the weekends. I predicted last week that there was going to be some kind of a false flag attack over the weekend. And I was hoping I was wrong, and it turns out I was, which is good. It's a good thing. And maybe I'm naive in a certain way, claiming that there was going to be actions to pull us into the war by, you know, Iranian false flag attacks. Because if you think about everything that's been going on with Dan Bongino and Kash Patel getting into the heads of the FBI, I assumed that we were going to get some answers. Let's say on Thomas Crooks, right? The kid that tried to assassinate Trump, where we were this close to getting to actually taking him out. We still don't have any answers on that. We don't have any Epstein client list. We don't have any codifying of the Doge cuts. There's so far been, I mean, the only thing that has been sensationalized on the news are these deportations. And that's, I mean, to be honest, it's not the last of my worries because it's a very serious problem, but it's also something that our community should be handling more so than the FBI dedicating all of their time. Like I've discussed this before on the podcast, but what I wanted to see was dismantling of the institutions that have been able to become so corrupt with different leaders in that we didn't vote for. Because when Biden was voted in back in 2020, I mean, they were able to use the powers of the FBI and the CIA and all the other letter agencies, showing that these institutions can become corrupt overnight and target any American citizen in general. And if we don't start dismantling some of these institutions or getting some real answers, I mean, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino came out and they looked like it was like a hostage release video. I mean, it was insane how they said Epstein, he killed himself. There's no there, right? There's no there. That's the thing. And it is just, it's kind of heartbreaking to see because either they got rid of the information or, I mean, I can't even tell you, or they learned of something bigger that needs to be covered up and what stops them from wanting to tell the truth. Because I'll tell you what, it didn't look like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel were telling the truth, judging by their body language with how fiery they came out for a long time saying on how the Epstein situation was suspect, right? I can't imagine how these 4 years are going to solve the problems that we have in this country. Even if he fixes the trade deals, even if we happen to not go to war, if we don't actually codify any Doge cuts, if we don't actually dismantle some of these institutions, they'll bring them back overnight. And I mean, the spending hasn't really gone down. So what are we going to do? It's difficult. It is very, very difficult to kind of have my faith in what's been going on. And to be honest, Trump kind of felt like the last option that we had as a people in order to regain control. Here it is. Protest. Yeah. We need a No Kings protest. That's what we need. Yeah. Oh man, the No Kings protest. It was hilarious seeing that happen over the weekend, where from, at least on the West Coast, in Seattle and Portland and a couple other places around the country, actually, there was a ton of boomers that came out in support of the No Kings protest. And it appears that the media just loved the fact that for 2 hours, it was the 2 hours while they were out there, it was peaceful. And then all the governors came out, they made their statements, so that way the media could write up these articles saying that there was a successful, peaceful protest. So many Americans came out in support of the No Kings, and also Trump's parade was a big failure. And then, of course, they completely ignore the riots that happened at night. Like, I know in Seattle, I know in Portland, I know in various other places, those protests turned into riots. But it's just allowed. It's despicable. I mean, even the Seattle police came out with a tweet and they said that, you know, to keep it up. Yeah, there was a shooting. There was a shooting in Vegas. There was the assassination that happened over the weekend, which, I mean, that entire thing, again, is very, very suspect. Because this guy apparently worked for Tim Walz, came out and assassinated the only Democrats that voted against their party, and then I mean, judging on the pictures, this was the weirdest part, because if you guys saw his arrest, I don't have it pulled up right now, but if you saw when he was arrested to when he was standing in front of the door with a mask on, and the other pictures that they released of him, I mean, it's hard to say that that's the same person. And it's hard to say that I don't know, man. The story's just weird. It's one of those things that's like, that doesn't really add up. It doesn't add up. So the weekend was a big success for the Democrats, because they got their 2 hours of peaceful protests that they can play over and over again and use as the idea that the left is peaceful and that they're not actually the fascists, and they're not the ones that cause the riots. No, they're the peaceful ones. They're the ones that actually want, justice, that they're fighting for democracy peacefully. They're out there protesting, and ignore all the terrorist attacks, the domestic terrorist attacks on all the burned Teslas. Ignore all those. Ignore the riots that happened night after night. Ignore all that stuff, because we had these 2 hours. We will play them for you over and over again, continuously, as if that's how the left normally reacts. And I got to be honest, from the pictures that I saw on in my area, most of the people that went out during that time, they were boomers. I mean, old, very old, like Walker, Canes, and just gray hair. I mean, just coming out of the nursing home just to say what the TV said, and then they stumbled back an hour and a half later, 2 hours later, and that was it. So, Citizens Defense Network, I appreciate you sharing this stream. I really do. Portland was a mess. Yeah, and we had an Enrique Tarrio on last week before last. And I kind of talked to him, because I still see people going out there and, wanting to clash with Antifa. Personally, I don't see a point to it, because they seem like, well, I know for a fact that in my state, if I went out there and was attacked by Antifa, almost no matter what, I'd be painted as the bad guy. There's almost no scenario I can think of in my mind where I would be depicted as the victim. I'd be screwed. So I don't go up there. There's no reason for me to go fight them, because they're inconsequential little beta boys running around and lighting shit on fire. And the police allow it. The prosecutors allow it. The governor loves it. So why would I do that? There has to be a deeper change in our culture before. Yeah. Only if I was a black midget could I go and do that. I mean, even being a Native American, that doesn't matter. I mean, especially with the stuff that I said or what I promote, being a Trump supporter as well. I'm the native face of white supremacy, is what I'm told. That's the most, that's what they say. So I don't see the point in going out and clashing with these people, because I don't see them as worthy opponents. I don't see my effort being channeled into that with anything positive coming out of it. So I'm not going to go up there and I'm not going to fight with the Antifa types. It's just not worth it. I'd more than likely get arrested. And, there's something to be said about martyrs, but that's no cause worth being a martyr for. Just going up there to pick a couple fist fights with some retarded kids that think that communism is a way to go and that they only have strength in numbers. Nah, I'm not doing that. No way. Not until we fix something, not until we can get justice in our prosecutorial system. Not until they actually start charging these people with crimes, or when the police decide that they're actually domestic terrorists. There's other ways to win. Remember, God wins in the end. No worries. Tales of a Christian Constitutional Republican. I truly believe that. I believe that the most truthful thing that The most truthful thing that I've ever come across is the Bible. Now, you can look at history books and they're rewritten all the time. You can look at, documents of the past, and there's a biased nature. So everything that we read about the past is written by the victors for the most part. But the most truthful thing that I've come across in my time is the Bible. And so I do try to take it very seriously. And that's kind of what I base my faith on. Tina Allen, there are many things I'd like to see happen yesterday, but in reality, there's so much happening at once. In which order have some of these things fell down the priority list? Yeah, we're barely 6 months in, and let's be real, the man could cure cancer and they'd still hate him. Everything he's tried to do has been met with hate over common sense. You're right about that. Every deportation order that has been carried out has been contested. Every single time he's tried to make a move, it has been fought. And in a way, I'm a little worried that the deep state is trying to trap Trump into being forced into a war. Because Trump likes to be strong, obviously. And he says peace through strength. But if the strength is never shown or utilized, then the hyenas are going to keep circling. They're going to keep biting at that lion, right? They'll just do a little bit more and a little bit more each time. I mean, this is kind of how we've lost to our rights to these communists, is just giving in one step at a time. Like it never actually feels like we're losing much because it's 1 inch at a time. And it's one slight compromise, one after the other, year after year after year after year. And then the spending, the deficit, the national debt goes up just little by little. And then a big recession hits and we have no other choice. We're going to have to print some more money. Debt goes way up. And then, COVID, we got to give everybody some money back, some taxed money back. And then goes up again. And now all of a sudden, when I was born in 1991, we were $3 trillion in debt when I was born. And we are 12 times that today. And so it makes me a little worried that the more compromise we have, the less power that we have, especially with AI coming in. I don't see it getting any better. And that's why it worries me so much that Donald Trump is not actually he's trying. It seems like him, Kash Patel, and a lot of these people put into positions of power are trying more so to represent their position well, as opposed to completely dismantling the institution that we know is corrupt, has been corrupt, and has done evil things. They're just putting on a good face for now, which doesn't really help our problem in 5 years. Donald Trump gets out of there. New appointees get appointed, especially if we go to war and we survive this whole thing. The MAGA base is going to be completely split. Nobody's going to know who to vote for. There's not going to be a coalition, a movement as big as Trump. How many people are going to vote for DeSantis in 2028? I don't think that that's going to be a giant movement. So if a Democrat wins, then every single position, every bit of corruption will resume. It'll go back to business as usual. And the American empire that we know and love, that we thought we knew at least, will collapse. So I don't see it as a, man, I'm just really, really trying to stay positive in this and assume that Trump is going to follow through with his word of the U.S. staying peaceful in this and not jumping into the war. Personally know a man from Seattle who infuriated the group. He's on the run because they found out they are crazy and violent. That's true. The Antifa types are crazy and violent. And I actually know some Antifa people, some fairly sane ones, who have kind of been disenfranchised in a way because of the crazies that have taken over a lot of their spaces, I'll say. And one of the problems that I pointed out to him was that infiltrated. Okay, that actually makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, infiltrated the group. I thought that initially, but it kind of worked both ways. But they've been disenfranchised in a way and kind of upset because the psychopaths take over Antifa. And they always do because they have no way to vet them. They don't vet for psychopaths. They affirm everybody's ideas. Let's see. His last truth says America first means many great things, including the fact Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Make America great again. That's from 2 hours ago, unless my phone isn't actually updating. But oh, about Tucker Carlson. Somebody please explain to Kooky Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Yeah, that just seems like a weird. That's like a Trump ego thing. It's like a Trump ego tweet. Oh, I already went over that. We're good. Yeah, I read that right at the beginning. Yeah, that was one of the first things that we covered. Oh, here's something interesting too, and kind of a fun little tidbit. The Pakistan tells Iran that they will nuke Israel if Netanyahu uses nuclear weapons against Tehran. Regime officer claims in huge World War III apocalypse threat. This just kind of feels like more saber rattling, and I just don't know. There's so many people that say, are of the crowd that nothing ever happens, right? That a lot of the times this rhetoric is spread around, sensationalist claims from the media to scare the shit out of you, to scare you into submission, so that way they can continue their corrupt schemes. They can make money off of, whether it be the military-industrial complex making blood money overseas by getting us into proxy wars or foreign wars. So it feels like here nothing ever happens. I'm sure there's a lot of hell going on over in the Middle East. But at some point, the people of America have to decide that the world isn't our problem right now, especially when our country is falling apart. And this is why everybody voted for Trump. We can't be the world police. There's always going to be a reason to go to war. There's always going to be a justification. There's always going to be a big bad. There's always going to be this threat of annihilation. And you know what? Sometimes it's true. Sometimes it is. And I remember Trump came out not that long ago when he was talking about the weapons that we have. And he's like, we have weapons that nobody knows about, that you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe. And it feels like we should probably use those to defend ourselves and not try to get involved in every conflict over in the Middle East. It is a holy war, and Iran has stated their intentions. You can believe them. I know. They always say that. I mean, they've said death to America. They said they wanted to kill all Jews. They said, they've said many things. And like I said, there's always going to be a justification. And I don't know how are we going to stop the military industrial complex? I mean, they warned about this 50 years ago that the military industrial complex was getting out of order. There's no way America can continue at this pace. There's zero. I mean, there's a guaranteed fact that America will crumble if we continue at the pace that we're at. What was it, 2000 and when Bush was elected, what was our national debt at? A couple $1 trillion. Obama gets in, it's at 8 trillion, and then it doubles to 16 trillion. Trump gets elected, it goes up to 21 trillion. Biden gets elected, and then, we're up to 36 trillion now. It's insane. The rapid decrease in value of our dollar is unsustainable. There's nothing that we can do. Or there will be a time when everything collapses, and then our country falls, and we'll be in a way worse off spot than if we started today. So just continuing to get involved in these old wars, or not old wars. Well, it's kind of an old war. But continuing to get involved in these wars overseas. And we're just kind of delaying the inevitable here. It's like we're not worrying about the fire in our own house, and we're trying to run over and put the fire out in somebody else's house. Well, the fire here is growing. We're not really doing anything to fix it. Yeah, Trump got rid of some DEI policies, but there's still dirty communists all over in our government, corrupt as hell. None of the Doge cuts have been codified. Trump wasn't able to put his foot down on the Republicans and say, hey, get this shit codified. Make these changes permanent. Dismantle these institutions. Martial law. Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. If nukes start getting dropped, there will be martial law. And then, I mean, how much access to the internet are we going to have? How much information are we going to know? That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Oh. Is today a good day for you guys, though? Because it's been the news. The more you look at it, the more it's going to stress you out. I hope you guys have taken some necessary precautions in your own lives in order to, I guess, put some kind of security blanket between yourself and whatever's going on in the world. There's no way to predict everything. There's no way to guarantee your own security, but you gotta try. Let's see. Trump has said all along that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. I'm not sure why the right is so divided over this. He's literally stayed the same the whole time. Well, I think what people are frustrated about is the imminent nature of what has been declared and why they started doing it right now. Like during negotiations, that's when they found this new nuclear site, and that, okay, Israel has to attack right now. Otherwise the whole world's screwed. So they're the ones protecting the world. And that's literally what Bibi came out and said. He came out and said, we're not just defending ourselves, but eventually it's going to be used against you. I get America first, but I don't get America dead. I don't get what they're trying to do. And it's like, well, the timing is very, very coincidental. Gabbard said they didn't have them and that they were not making them. You're right. She did tweet that a couple days ago. Let's see if I can pull it up. Yep, here it is. Same shit. Yeah, they've been days from developing a nuke since the 1990s. Or they've been 5 years away or 3 years away, and now all of a sudden it's they're days away. It can happen at any moment. And so now is the time to strike. And it's just one of those demoralizing things because, like, me as a standard citizen, I can't come out and refute that and be like, well, no, they're not. They're definitely not. I know better than all the intel agencies from around the world that are finding all this shit, but so I can't tell you that for sure. But I'll tell you what, my gut feeling says that the timing is off, or is too coincidental. I'll say that. But I remain hopeful in a way that Trump will remain peaceful. And hopefully it stays that way. I guess we just have to hope for that. And, we're supposed to hold our politicians accountable. And this kind of proves in the way that, the right MAGA isn't a cult. Because a lot of people are saying, as Christians, we're supposed to support Israel. And a lot of MAGA in general is saying that Israel is our greatest ally and that we need to do whatever we can to take everything, whatever we can to submit to the Israeli government and intelligence agencies. And in all reality, I don't believe that to be true. It's hard for me to say that the people of Israel right now are what the Bible was talking about, right? Expect great things on your fast. Oh, spirit grow strong and the Lord will bless you. Yeah, no country is completely good. You're absolutely right. And especially intelligence agencies. Like I see, as far as I'm concerned, our CIA, our FBI, our intelligence agencies are no different than whatever's happened in Israel. No different. Well, you guys, I did have a very fun tweet today, if you want to go over some of it, because I decided to come out today and talk about the Jews, and I pissed everybody off. I got people who were saying that I was a Jew lover, and then I had people saying that I was an anti-Semite, and it's like, all right. Well, so we'll go over that, but let me give a shout out to our sponsor here real quick. Okay, so this is Shop with America. Check it out.
Welcome to Shop with America, where the emphasis is on America. Our movement is to switch away from your shopping with the big box stores and the mega corporations back to supporting family-owned, made in America. We've been giving these big box stores our money every day for years. But what's happened is they've forced many small businesses to shut down. We call this the illusion of choice. We see all these products in these stores, but in reality, it's only a few companies that control it all. There are thousands of lawsuits for health damage because they put profit over our people. But there is another choice. We found a better way. There's a family-owned American factory with product integrity and have always done things the right way for the right reasons. And this company outperforms the big box stores. That's due to their month-to-month shopping club. They make everyday consumer products that we all use and buy again and again, like toothpaste, shampoo, coffee, and organic beef. Go to shopwithamerica.us today.
This actually plays quite well into the post that I'm about to read that I made earlier today, as far as what we can do to help change this country, and it's one step at a time. One thing you can do is start buying American, supporting American companies, keeping your money in this country. Go to shopwithamerica.us, sign up. One of my representatives on the team will contact you, help sign you up. And there's actually two options. You can join my team and actually help me sign people up, because the response to this has been pretty positive. And we've had a lot of people wanting to sign up, but the more people that want to sign up, it takes a little bit longer to get them signed up. So you can actually become part of the team and help sign others up and actually make money from it if you wanted to, or you can just start shopping with America and get all the food products in your house, or the household products that you use to clean, toilet paper, right? Toothpaste, all the basic shit. You can get all that sent to your door in 2 days. Make the switch. It is not very difficult, but it does take a little bit of change up here and in your heart, because man, we have been tricked for a long time, for generations, that accepting the fact that all of our products need to come from overseas, need to come from these companies that use slave labor, the fact that these cheap products are sent to us and we need every new widget and every new gadget, and every 2 years you need a new iPhone, you need new this, you need new that. We've become lazy and complacent, and we stopped supporting our country. We stopped keeping our dollars here in America. So rather than sending it overseas, sign up, shopwithamerica.us. I'll have one of the members on my team give you a call and sign you up. All right, let's get into the Jew talk, shall we? It's not really that bad. I don't know why everybody got so upset about it. Well, maybe it's because I pissed. You know what? I'll just read it. I'll just bring it up. It's just pretty simple. Check this out, you guys. All right. I'm about to. I know. I was just thinking that I'm about to get kicked off of every platform, but Rumble and X probably. But I said, you know what really bugs me about the narrative that the Jews run and control everything is the cop-out excuses for our society willingly going along with all of this depravity. Now, a lot of the message being sold to us, at least by the people who say that the Jews run and control everything, is that our society are just victims to it. And there's nothing we can do about it. They run everything. And until they're gone, we're stuck in this mode. And I don't believe that to be true. Because Pornhub thrives because men use it. OnlyFans thrives because men pay for it. The sick and depraved rap music gets billions of views, which always surprises me, especially some of the crap that's actually put out there. We proudly buy foreign slave-made products because it's cheaper. We send our wives to work and our kids to government indoctrination camps called schools. You don't have to get a new phone every 2 years, but parents still buy that crap for their kids. They still buy a new car every 4 years instead of learning how to maintain the vehicle they own. They'll gladly buy IKEA crap products. Oh, shit products, I'll read it right. Instead of building their own shelves. Now, I got a lot of pushback on this one in particular. Gen X gave millennials participation trophies and then dog on millennials for being soft. You guys and boomers made PC popular. You indoctrinated my generation and are surprised by how they turned out. Now, a lot of Gen Xers came at me and said, no. It wasn't our fault. Yes, it was. I mean, the show Friends started in the 90s, and they were starting the politically correct. They were starting the woke stuff, right? I like the show Friends, but you can see when you go back and you watch it now, you start to see it was step one. It was step one of the indoctrination, and it was accepted. And the millennials that grew up, they were all given participation trophies by somebody. It wasn't millennials, and it wasn't their grandparent boomers that did it for the most part. A lot of it was Gen X. They started this entire thing. They gave them participation trophies, and the parents just accepted it. And I'm not saying that you should be completely condemned for it, because people thought that they were doing the right thing. But now looking back and say, yeah, that was our bad. We kind of screwed up a lot of the millennials because we were too soft on them or didn't teach them. We didn't take them to church. We didn't teach them morality properly. We didn't take them to church. We sent them to government indoctrination camps called schools. And we expected that they were just going to understand morality in a way that we did growing up before the internet, before there was all of these outside forces coming in and reaching into millennials' minds. Like where I grew up out in the middle of the woods, I didn't have TV until after high school, and I had a flip phone until 2018. So I was kind of separated from a lot of that. But I know a lot of people in my generation weren't. A lot of people had Facebook and all of these other accounts that helped push them into this woke nonsense that we've been experiencing. And that's why, and then they became the foot soldiers of it. So millennials, yes, a lot of you are weak and pathetic and you deserve rightfully to get shit on, but it's not just our fault. Okay. Stop giving your kids a tablet to occupy their time. Teach them to read instead. Sit with them and learn piano. It's not a requirement, but it's definitely better than just handing your kid a tablet. Attend church at least once a month. That's a good start. And what I mean by that in a lot of ways, because trust me, I know and understand that a lot of churches are corrupt. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to learn the ancient wisdom that has been passed down and preserved for thousands and thousands of years. It's not a good idea to dismiss that outright and just say that like we're above religion now because everybody is religious. If you believe in good and evil, then your actions, your beliefs are religious. It's just that Christians have a specified God in Jesus Christ and a specified ultimate evil in Satan. Everything else in between, your actions are religious. And you see the lefties now, their preachers is the media. It's the woke narrative that gets spewed on the media or by their favorite influencer. That's the gospel that they're hearing, and it's ever changing, never really defined, not based in anything concrete. So it is always going to be more likely to get hijacked. So when people say that, like, oh, I'm not religious, yes, you are. You just have an unspecified God and are more likely to have your good intentions subverted. And I mean, there's a reason that the saying goes, the pathway to hell is paved with good intentions, because you can have all the good intentions in the world, but if you're being manipulated in a way where morality, like right now, you see like the Gays for Palestine thing last year, that whole ordeal, it makes no sense, right? Because you'd think like, okay, but if you go to Palestine, you're going to get thrown off a rooftop. But they still did it. They still chanted it. And right now we have a bunch of people saying that having, shipping back these criminal aliens who illegally entered the country, like that's morally wrong. That's what all these riots about. That's what all this crap is about, because their goodwill is being subverted. So the pathway to hell is paved with good intentions. It's because the left doesn't have a specified God or a moral foundation that keeps them from straying too far, because we are imperfect. We are imperfect. We are all fallen. We live in a fallen world. That's the way it is. We are prone to sin. Get your damn hands dirty. Learn how to fix pipes and change the oil in your car. Buy secondhand products instead of cheap Chinese-made bullshit. Learn to sew up clothes or patch them. Buy boots. Use them when working. We as a society have slowly wasted every day by filling your time up with Netflix, porn, and video games, and are now looking around pissed that it's the Jews' fault. At least the left will go out and be active in their community. Drag queen story hours are happening at your local library, but you don't see any protests there. You take your child to a doctor that will secretly tell them that they're the opposite sex, while the tablet they've been watching for years has been saying the same thing. Eventually, they're going to believe it. You still buy Disney products and shop at Walmart, even though you know they hate you, your child, your lineage, and your country's history. At some point, we're going to have to hold ourselves accountable for the comfortable lifestyle we accept and don't want to lose. Not talking about politics or religion over Thanksgiving table is no longer an option. We need to be more responsible in holding each other accountable to the moral good. And that was basically my entire point here, is that as a society, we've accepted a life of comfort, and our default as a culture is now our default as a culture is complacency. It's comfort and complacency rather than striving to be something better, rather than learning about the philosophical nature of how America came to be, or what inspired the founding fathers to break away from a monarchy that ruled the world for 500 years before that. What in the world would possess somebody or a group of people to go against the most powerful military unit the entire world had ever known up to that point, that has been ruling the world for hundreds of years before that? What would ever possess somebody to do that is because they believed in a mission. And I believe that a lot of the people sharing the message of everything is the Jews' fault, I believe that they are selling, like, even if they're right, let's say that the Jews are actually in control of everything, okay? Even if they were right, it still doesn't solve the problem, because there's a supply and demand issue here, okay? You want to go after the supplier, that's all well and good, but it's not going to solve the issue that our culture has been addicted to, this dopamine hits, lack of responsibility or accountability, not learning how to be accountable or competent, or wanting to better themselves every day. We just accept comfort, and then we expect to. It's like we expect a lot of these foot soldiers that are online right now, because I've talked to a lot of the Jew haters, right? I've talked to a lot of Antifa people too. I try to get everybody's opinion, all right? The mind-numbing focus on the issue without any kind of solution, it's almost like they're just creating another problem. And like the way Antifa has an issue of vetting out psychopaths, if you don't have a way to filter those people out, you are going to get you're going to create fire instead of rebuilding something great, right? Like the founding fathers, they had a vision. They knew what they wanted. They wrote it down. They said, these are the reasons why your monarchy sucks and why we're going to build something better. And there's almost this assumption from a lot of the people who just blame the Jews for everything that that's the default for humans. And it's not. The founding fathers and what they did, what they inspired, the country they initially built, the country that they wanted to have come to fruition, it is not the default. The default of human nature is slavery, war, monarchy, dictatorship, tyranny of all kinds. And you know, people talk about how if you want to make America great again, you're going to have to offer a vision of some kind. It can't just be pointing at the supplier and then assuming that the demand is going to disappear after you got rid of the supplier. Right? So even if all the Jews were taken out of the powerful positions, okay? Even if let's just entertain that for a second, okay? Chill. Let's just say that happened. We would still have a society that is completely dependent on all of the products that are built to not last. I mean, they're literally built to fail. So you go back and you buy more. They don't know how to change their oil. They don't know how to do almost anything. Like the majority of people, they don't understand philosophy. They don't understand basic math. They don't understand how to fix random shit in their house, because a lot of it is just, it hasn't been taught. You take school, for example, nowadays, they've removed shop class, they've removed home ec, they've removed all of these things, all of these very basic life skills that we kind of assume everybody should just know. And then you kind of understand why people want to live in apartment buildings, because they don't want any responsibility. They don't want to have to go cut the grass. They don't want to have to clean the gutters. They don't want to have to do that. No, they want to sit there and watch Netflix and porn at night. And we've kind of accepted this as a culture. And that, it, you know, when you get together with your family, you're not supposed to talk about religion. You're not supposed to talk about politics. None of this. Because that might start a fight. Everybody's got to be nice and accepting and tolerant. And you know, everybody has a different way of doing it. But you can see how fast our society has kind of collapsed, especially since 1962, right before the Civil Rights Movement, where the Supreme Court decided to remove God from everything. Marriage rates collapsed. In the black and white community. So even after, like, a lot of people blame the fall of our civilization, or like the depravity entering our civilization, because of the civil rights movement, because that was right about the time where it started to go down. I don't believe that, because even if you look at the black population back then, a lot of them were Christians. A lot of them were aspiring to be treated as equals. But when God was removed from everything and there was no requirement, then no-fault divorce came along, and nobody took marriage seriously. So fathers started bouncing, and then, you know, the 80s and 90s came, and the whole feminism movement and the birth control pill, where they convinced women that it's better to sleep around and not be tied down to no man. It screwed everything over. And then all the propaganda that I grew up with, all the propaganda that I grew up with as a kid was like, you know, we watched Family Guy and The Simpsons and all of this beta crap where the dad was just always this dunce who couldn't do anything, who couldn't function, who couldn't watch the kids. You look at Santa Claus, the movie Santa Claus with Tim Allen, and the dad he's just a complete fucking moron who his wife left him, and he doesn't know how to cook, he doesn't know how to take care of his kids. He's just an idiot. That's not acceptable. As men, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't allow that. It's not just Netflix and porn today. It is impossible for the millennials to afford a house. You're right. And Gen Z is screwed. Yeah, we let this go on for way too long. This is this is not a problem that happened overnight. And this is definitely not a problem that we're going to fix overnight. So I had some interesting talks with some of the people who are really adamant about, the Jews being the problem, which, they're pushing this stuff. If they're leading, OnlyFans, if they own OnlyFans, if they own Pornhub, then, if they own Hollywood, whatever it may be, like, yeah, that's a problem, but it's not the problem. The problem in a lot of ways is us as a culture accepting this stuff and then like buying all the products that they sell. It's participating in that economy. It's not doing anything to change it and build it. It's just like you want to sit back and hate on them and then get to a point where, we're almost to the point, which is scary, which is why I really want to talk about this stuff, because we're getting to a point where, like, I know people who still live at home, who hate the Jews, and who believe that they're, when I say home, I mean with their parents, okay, mid-20s or so, and they hate the Jews, but they haven't done anything at all to contribute to society in any way, shape, or form. They're not bettering not only themselves, but their community at all. Like, they're just sitting and they're researching all this stuff, and they're like, look at all the Jews own everything, and 9/11 and all of this stuff. And it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Because right now, your solution is ending with your lineage. You're not married. You don't have kids. You're not providing for them. You're not being a role model for future generations. Your bloodline is disappearing if you don't have any kids. So what the fuck are you even fighting for? So it bugs me when I see people like that, or when I hear things like that there's just like everything's their fault, and our society is just completely innocent. It's the same victim mentality, okay? It's the same reason that I dog on the tribal leaders at reservations. It's the same reason why I dog on the black culture in America, because the natives on the reservation, all the racist ones there, they'll tell you that they were put there by the white man. They live on stolen land, and all of their problems are because of the white man. And then it's the same thing that you hear from like BLM. They're like, yeah, you can't be racist towards white people. They stole land. They did slavery. And it's like, well, everybody did slavery. Okay. You're blaming this nebulous white people thing so you can go out there and protest and destroy shit without ever taking accountability for your own actions or why you're in a bad position. It's like, me personally, I'm not in the best position ever. It is fucking hard. Okay. You know what I did this entire last weekend on Father's Day weekend? I worked all weekend. It sucked. I was out there doing service calls for 9-10 hours a day on my days off. But you know what? I have to do that because in order to take care of my wife and kids, I have to sometimes work extra. And, I replaced all the flooring in my house myself. I maintain all the vehicles that we have myself. I make so many sacrifices to make this work that in me trying to just explain that to people, like, well, you have to be more capable. You have to be more willing to do shit yourself. Look it up, figure it out. Sometimes you fail. Sometimes you do it wrong. It happens, but we have so many tools at our disposal. You want to be a YouTube mechanic? Well, be a fucking YouTube mechanic. You want to, like, when you're something is wrong with your car, figure it out, diagnose it. What's wrong with it? What makes it go brrr? And it's not going brrr anymore. It's making it when it stops. Why would it do that? Learn about shit. We are so willing to not be competent nowadays. We're so willing to just push the problem off onto somebody else and not take accountability or responsibility for our own actions. The only reason that I have a house, that I have a stay-at-home wife, and that I have multiple kids is because I intentionally built my life in a way where I could do that. And yes, in a lot of ways, I got lucky, okay? I don't have cancer right now. I beat it back when I was 14, but it might come back. And then, you know, it's not like the best option for my family if I go out next year with cancer. That would be bad. And I don't really have a plan for that, but I can't plan for that. I can't plan for everything. But I'm willing to sacrifice everything that I can to make it work. And especially I want to give my kids a better life. And the only way that I can do that right now is raise them to be competent, capable, God-fearing patriots. And it just seems like the Jews are the problem with everything is a complete cop-out for the lack of responsibility that we have as a culture. Like, why is it that this shit rap songs get millions of views? Why is it that so many people tune in to OnlyFans? Why are they being paid so much? Is it like, do we just write all those people off and say, well, they're a victim. They're a victim of the Jews. And it's like, okay, but you're not doing anything to fix it, man. So yeah, I got a lot of hatred today for that. Because it's just one of those things, you know? And I love listening to people who are like really passionate about, like, I love listening to people who are passionate about anything. You know, if there's somebody passionate about like trains and shit, or like, you know, history buffs, like I love it. I will talk to them all day. But there's a certain angle that a lot of these people who are very passionate that the Jews are the problem, there's a certain angle they take, which I just can't get on board with. I'm like, okay, even if that is true, what are you going to do about it? Not married, no kids, no plan for the future. Are like, you just writing it off? Are you going to go to Valhalla, die a warrior's death, take out a couple bad apples, and then like, that was my contribution. Love you, ancestors. Thanks for successfully reproducing for hundreds of thousands of years to create me so I could go out in this fiery passion of Jew hatred. And then you're, you know, written in history by whoever's left as some fucking lunatic who went on a rampage. Like, that's not a good idea. That's terrible. It's actually a really stupid idea. You shouldn't do that. It's just, see, we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of comments going by. Need about $3 trillion per year spending on industrial policy to help recover the productivity gain theft from the labor class. Dude, you are too scared to confront the elites that hire the illegals, like on those huge farms. That is a serious problem. Yeah, the fact that Trump wants to give amnesty to those people, and like, I mean, the first thing I said was that, I mean, okay, if he wanted to like be nice to the farm workers who are illegally here, he should have just said that, you know, we'll deport them last. That should have been his answer. But no, every illegal needs to go. If we're working on technology, AI technology, and you know, we really want to get illegals out of here, then we got to deport all of them. It can't just be like some of them. No, it's all of them. Goodbye. It's a privilege to be an American, okay? You don't just get to come in here and break all the fucking rules and receive benefits and free healthcare and free this and free phone and free travel wherever the fuck you want to go. No, you don't get any of that. We can't be the poverty center for the world. Have you guys ever seen those homeless shelters? Or the you know, the places that like give out free food and shit? You think that solves homelessness? You think, or does it just like attract more of them to that place? It's the same thing that we're doing with these fucking criminal aliens coming over the border. We're literally just attracting more of them because we're like, well, you can get free work, free healthcare, free this, free that. Yeah, free. The American taxpayer dollar. All we're doing is robbing from our kids. That's all it is. It's ridiculous. It's terrifying. So, what can you do to help? What, and I would like everybody just to think about your own life, and doesn't matter your age, you know, where, and take some accountability, because I mean, this is something that, like, the reason that there were so many boomers out at the protest last weekend for the No Kings rally is because a lot of them just inherently believe the news. They had trust in our system. They had trust in the government, which I don't really fault them for that. I don't fault them for having trust in a system that they were born into. It's just when I came into politics and I started looking around, I came in with a skeptical eye and I was like, well, they're lying. They're lying to me directly. And that guy's lying too. Everybody's lying. This sucks. What can we do to fix this? And then you start looking through history and you're like, oh, Gulf of Tonkin? Wait, they wanted to do what? To get us into war? And you really think that all that went away? No. Yeah, warp speed, same shit. Yeah, all that stuff. And even if you said Trump was like, had good intentions and he was tricked, it's like, well, he still went along with it. Our civilization went along with it. And that was actually one of the reasons why I started to speak out, is because a lot of the men that I respected bent the knee to those mandates. And I was like, well, I guess I should start speaking out. I guess I should learn more and actually... Okay. I don't know what this guy's deal is, but apparently he does not like me or thinks that I'm cucked by Trump because, like, I voted for him, but whatever. I don't have an issue calling Trump out for his bad deeds because guess what? He has done a lot of bad things. He's not perfect. And yeah, like, he's just a person. He's not my idol. You know who's my idol? Jesus Christ. That's my idol. Yeah, just understand that, like, I wanted to inspire a lot of people to vote for Trump because I believed in my heart of hearts that was the last option that we had. And kind of feels like it's not coming out the way I wanted it to. But hey, it is what it is. All right, you guys, thank you for being so active in this. I do got to get going because the Patriots Prayer Network, Eddie is going live right after me. I'm actually way past time. I didn't realize that we'd already gone over an hour. I'm just sitting here just fucking rambling to myself about the Jews and what can we do about it. But take care, you guys. God bless. Please go visit shopwithamerica.us. Change your spending habits. Make the switch. Stop sending your money overseas. Stop supporting these foreigners and their children slaves that they make our fancy little gadgets. That would be good. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Take care. God bless. We will see you on Wednesday. Steve should be back by then. But God bless you guys.
My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PPN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV. Lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
Know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My patriots, the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms. Fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States. We love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't obeyed. My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is a